Hi, everyone. It is Bob Perkins with AAISP's Inside Sales Studio, bringing you a special interview series. I'm with Nick Rini. Nick, welcome.
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate the invite.
It's good to have you. Nick is the Chief Revenue Officer at Sciolytix. Sciolytix is a new partner and sponsor of the AISP, and I have so enjoyed getting to know what you and your company does. Today, we're going to talk about something that we haven't really brought on the show here, and it has to do with the importance of practice. When you think about, I still think of professional golfers like a Tiger Woods that would go and he'd win a round, and then he'd go to the range and continue to practice to improve. But the salespeople do that. Nick, you have some really good ideas and thoughts behind that. So all yours.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And again, it's a pleasure to be here. To all of you in AAISP land, it's a pleasure. Yeah, kind of an interesting thing. We have found, and this is really wild. I mean, I'm a salesperson. I've been selling for a long time. And I can tell you that over the years, I spent more time practicing golf, guitar, bass, singing, a whole variety of things more than I practiced selling.
And I'm guilty. Same with you.
I got to tell you, Bob, it's astonishing. And here's the thing. I mean, if you think about ball players, let's take a baseball player, for example. It's really fascinating. They practice virtually every day.
Yeah.
And they will tell you, musicians, professional musicians. Here's a great story. Max Weinberg, the drummer for the E Street Band, Bruce Springsteen's band. He will tell you that when they're about to go out on the road, 6 months before they go out, he practices for 12 hours a day.
Wow.
7 days a week. And then on top of that, while he's out on the road, he still practices every single day. So, here's the question. Salespeople, it's their livelihood.
Yeah.
It's our livelihoods, right? How often do we actually practice? It's rare. It's rare. We do some role plays every once in a while.
We read a book, role plays, maybe sit through a class, which you forget about. So do you think, Nick, part of it is maybe they don't know how to practice, or, I mean, why is this?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Bob. I think there are a lot of reasons for it. First and foremost, listen, we as salespeople tend to have pretty big egos. And we think we've got all the answers. We think we've got it nailed. How long have we been shooting from the hip? Right?
Yeah.
And we can make this happen, man. It's not a problem, but it is a problem.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
I think that one of the other issues is that it's not comfortable. The only way to practice right now is, there aren't very many mechanisms for doing so. So what do? We revert to role plays.
Right.
And, listen, we don't like role plays. And that, I think, is one of the biggest issues.
They're uncomfortable. You gotta find a willing partner when you role play. I think they can be effective if done properly. Would you agree?
I would wholeheartedly agree. I think that, as a matter of fact, I was a role play judge for the for a role play competition that was taking place. It was fascinating. As a judge, there's certain criteria. It was very, very organized, well documented. Everything was laid out. Bob, I'm here to tell you, it was still hit and miss.
Yeah.
There were people who won the role play competition who other people felt should not have won.
Yeah.
It's so subjective. And, not only that, but, you are expecting now that the person who is playing the buyer is going to ask the tough questions and challenge you.
Yeah.
And they may or may not do that. So it's very inconsistent. And if you're actually going to score people, the scoring is terribly inconsistent. So it's there are some serious issues with it.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's get into maybe some of your expertise around what does good practice look like for salespeople? We know what it looks like kind of for golf. I'm a big golfer. I
Sure.
know what I need to do. I have a coach and I have a routine and drills. Talk to us about salespeople. What can we learn from you on practice?
Well, I would say that one of the things, if you think about, let's go back to, well, let's talk about your golf, right?
Yeah.
When you get into some sort of a slump and you're slicing, right? What do? You go back to the driving range. You don't play the toughest course, right? You
Right.
don't, you actually go back, you
Yep.
think about your grip, all right? You go back to what? Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Yeah.
Fundamentals. Salespeople don't do that.
Right.
Salespeople don't do that. What we do is we, try and close bigger deals or more complex deals, or, we don't go back to fundamentals. And in a lot of cases, we forget the important steps. And, you mentioned golf. I was just talking to a gentleman, Steve. Oh
Stricker?
gosh,
Steve Stricker? No.
no,
No.
Ecklington.
Oh, Elkington. Steve
Elkington.
Elkington. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
what a charming man.
Yeah.
Just, two-time PGA winner, big
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
He told me he still practices 3 hours a day today,
Yeah. Hmm.
still. And if he did not practice, what he said that was very interesting is that, if he didn't practice, it would be a disaster. And when he does practice, he goes back, and it could be anything in his swing, the whole process. And if you think about and bring that to sales, and I'm sorry, I'm very excited about this
Yeah.
topic. So I'm skipping words. My brain is
That's
moving
okay.
100 miles an hour. But if you think about sales, it could be anything in the process, establishing next steps. We forget to do some of these very basic things.
Yes.
When we reach out to somebody, you and I, prior to this call, we're talking about video.
Yeah.
And when you send somebody a video, you have to make sure to give them a reason to call back,
Right.
or an email, give them a
Yeah.
reason to call back, and we forget about these things.
Forget. So Nick, let's go ahead, as we got a few minutes left here. So let's share a couple of things that you have seen work well for a practice drill for a sales rep.
Well, I'm a bit biased on this topic.
Of
So
course.
one of the things that I have seen work very effectively is gamified simulations. And the reason that they're so effective is because they're consistent. They score you. They give you, as a salesperson, an idea as how well you've done,
Yeah.
as to how well you've done. And it gives you meaningful coaching and feedback. Whereas, if you and I were to do a role play, I guarantee you we would start joking about one thing or another within a few minutes of starting, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'd crack a joke, we
Yeah.
relate it to golf or music, who knows? But I've seen gamified simulations work really well. They create competition
Yeah.
amongst the salespeople, and they're consistent from one person to the next.
Nick, you had me last time we spoke. You fired up your platform, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I took one of the simulations.
Oh, did you?
And I scored like okay, but not the best. And I'm like, what? And so I go fire up another one. Darn it, I want to get the best. And so this gamification piece works. And so does the reality of the scenario you're in. If the scenario is you need to confirm next steps and ask for referrals, and you mess it up a little bit, it'll let you know.
Well, and what's interesting about this is 94% of the people who score below 80 go back and try it again, just like you did.
I hit the slice. I'm not leaving the range until I can hit a draw. Nick,
Right.
this is great. Look, you've shared with the viewers the importance of practice. Practice really, it can't be any kind of practice. It has to be good practice, but practice, period. If you don't have the ability to do a simulation, I know, that's what your company does.
Sure.
Still get out there, work with a coach, work with a boss, work with a peer, do some role plays. But let's, share briefly, if you would, your company and what it does around simulations. I enjoyed it when you put me through it, and yeah, I came back and I wanted to get better. So talk to the viewers a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So we develop 3D avatar virtual business environments that are sales environments that challenge salespeople to apply critical thinking skills, make decisions that will advance the conversation with the customer, the virtual customer. And what we do is we score people, not whether or not they got discovery right, but we're looking at very specific skills that relate to discovery.
Right.
And we're looking at something that nobody talks about, and that is judgment in selling situations.
Yeah.
So that's, in a nutshell. Sciolytix is a little bit broader than that. We also have an LMS offering, but I don't know how we're doing on time. So
well, we need to wrap up, but I'll just say, especially now in a remote environment, which, look, we're going to be remote selling for some time, even when we get back to work. It's not too often that a coach or a boss can sit down and really hear both sides of the conversation. So simulation is a great way to practice different scenarios that can be customized. So, Nick, the best way for viewers to connect with you here to maybe learn more about this concept or even more about what you do.
Sure. The best way would be to reach out. Feel free to go to our website, sciolytix.com, or nick.rini@the-same-name.com. Come and just reach out.
We'll put that right up here on the screen. Everyone, thanks so much for watching. Nick, you've kind of opened our eyes to all of us a little bit. We got to practice, right? I don't care if you're a rep, a leader, you need to be practicing your trade. So
veterans.
Thank you very much. Everyone,
Pleasure.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.